Welcome to Surviving the Side Hustle, the podcast for high performers who've gone all in, but still feeling a little stuck. I'm your host, Rob Tracy, coach, speaker, and creator of the Prime Performance Process. If you're a solopreneur, small business owner, or just launched your side hustle and you're tired of grinding with no momentum, this is for you. Every week, we bring you guests that have broke the code, generated momentum, and finally got unstuck. And we're diving into their stories, their struggles, and their secrets to generating massive momentum in both their personal and professional lives. We don't do fluff here. We do frameworks, real talk, and share the kind of insights that get you unstuck for good. Welcome, and let's get rolling. But before we dive in, I gotta remind you, if you're overwhelmed, spinning your wheels, or just tired of hustling without the results, it's time for a Prime Performance Strategy session. In this free call, we'll zoom out on your life and business, identify the real reason you're feeling stuck, and build a game plan to help you reclaim your confidence, energy, and gain some clarity so you can get back to doing what you set out to do. Lead, grow, and thrive. This isn't surface level coaching. It's a system built on resilience, intentionality, clarity, and alignment. So head over to survivingthesidehustle.com/free call to grab your spot today. Again, that's survivingthesidehustle.com/free call. Let's get going and help you look good, feel good, and do great things. What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Surviving the Side Hustle. And today we've got my buddy Cliff on. Cliff, dude, it's a pleasure to have you on. I'm excited to kind of dive into this conversation. Glad that we got it on the calendar, and I'm excited to hear a bit about you and your story and everything you've got going on and your book and everything. So, man, I'm excited, dude. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thank you. I know we had some technical difficulties last time, so I'm glad we ended up adjusting and figuring it out like entrepreneurs do.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's name of the game, right? Resilience and consistency, just sticking through it and eventually getting it done, right?
100%.
Cool, man. So why don't we just kind of kick it off by diving in and learning a little bit about you as an individual. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you help kind of thing?
Yeah. So I am a crazy individual who tries to do really hard things really, really quickly. And I start learning a lot of lessons very, very quickly. And one of my first biggest things, I was a former UFC fighter. And when I went from UFC and I got into business, I quickly realized, oh crap, this is the same exact game. Like, we're getting into arena, we're getting punched, we're getting kicked, and we're learning lessons on the go. And when you have someone who can support you in learning those lessons faster, you really, really appreciate them. So I am that guy for business owners who are getting punched in their face and kicked in their face.
Just to clarify, you're not the one who's actually punching and kicking them in the face, correct?
No, yes. Their clients, their employees, sometimes themselves, but not me.
Well, so talk to me. So how did you get into the position that you're in now? Where did you decide that you wanted to start coaching and helping other entrepreneurs and individuals?
It honestly kind of happened randomly. So I got into business because I knew there was opportunity in getting into business. And the reason I knew there was opportunity, there was a book I read called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And I read that book and I really loved how he was talking about how there's an entrepreneur in us, there's a technician in us, and there's a manager in us. And we just got to figure out how to put that together. But the coaching aspect actually came about randomly because everyone kept calling me coach as I was going through my journey. And so because everyone was calling me coach, I'm like, well, maybe I should get certified in this thing. And I got certified in it and I realized, like, holy crap, this is something that I've been kind of doing all of my life, is supporting people and getting clarity so that they can take the necessary steps to create the life that they wanted.
Wow. So talk to me about the process of getting certified. How was that?
Yeah. So I ended up going online and I connected with I can't even remember the name of the Expert Ratings. Yeah, it was Expert Ratings. And I went through that process and they gave you some books to read and they gave you a couple of tests to do through that process. And they tested you out. They tested your skill sets out on how you ask questions and what kind of questions you ask. And that's where I really kind of realized like, oh, I'm pretty good at this because life comes down to asking the right questions. I even have one coach who says the quality of your life comes down to the quality of the questions that you ask.
Yeah, that is so true. Asking better questions, and people always think that, oh, questions are just questions. Questions are a scale. There's better questions, there's more in-depth questions that pull out more information, and then there are like very simple yes no questions that give you very little information. And if you know how to ask better questions, usually you can extract more information and better position yourself and help others and influence each other to create better impact and better change in the world. Is kind of where I believe. And I would love to hear a little bit more about where you're currently going next. So we know where you kind of started from, where you began to shift into coaching realm. What are some of your goals and expectations? I guess I could even ask for this year. Like, what are
Yeah.
you looking to work towards? We're about halfway through the year already at this time of recording.
Yeah, so I actually started doing challenges with people and I have something called the training room. And the training room was built out of a desire that I wanted when I got into entrepreneurship. And I felt we know what to do, but we don't do it. And I always ask myself that question like, okay, why don't people do what they're supposed to do if they know what to do? And it's all in our head, all of it. But it's easy to say that, right? Like now it's about, okay, what's the one action that will move me forward? And there's a question right there. Like, what is that one action that will actually get me moving forward instead of trying to focus on the really big action that just terrifies me and freaks me out? And so as I'm going through the process, I want to get 12 people in my training room. So I have 8 people right now, and I'm looking to do these 5-day challenges on a regular basis because the other thing that I'm noticing, people really need to feel trust before they take an action. Like they need to feel some form of trust before they take that action. And I want to give them that trust opportunity so they can feel me, they can understand me, they can see my vibe, and can see if I'm a good fit for them or not.
Very cool. I like that. That's pretty interesting there. I like the concept of the challenge, and it's really cool because I'm know much about me. I'm same way. I like to push myself in different ways, different challenges, physically, mentally, emotionally, different skills, constantly learning and growing myself. So I am one who agrees with you that it's always good to push yourself and challenge in different ways. Cliff, man, I know you've got a book. I would love to kind of dive in a bit on that. Could you mind sharing a little bit about where that came from and how that came about?
Yeah. So it's called The Fighter's Formula, Winning the Game of Life. And it came about from me actually butchering a speech. It was my first speech and I absolutely butchered it. And I spoke with my speaking coach about it. And she told me, well, usually the best way you get clear on how you help people is figure out how you've helped someone through the result that they got and then work it backwards. So that's what I did. Like, I'm like, okay, what are the best results that I get? And then I saw, and then I started working it backwards and I started seeing patterns in it. And as I was looking at these patterns, it's like, oh, there's certain patterns and there's certain exercises that you can do to move a person forward. And so the book came about because it was like, one, I wanted to be able to transform people without me having to be there all the time because I want to influence 1 billion people. And I went after a big goal and it's more of the same. I go after my big goal and then I start learning lessons. And I'm like, I can't talk to 1 billion people. It's not possible. Even if I was talking to people coming through my door every day on a regular basis, it would be too much. And so I was like, okay, how can I transform people when I'm not around? And that's when the book popped in. I'm like, I can use a book. That's an effective way that I can transform people and I don't even have to be there.
So the book itself is kind of like a guide, like a go at your own pace kind of guide that'll help you achieve the goals that you're looking to achieve.
Yep. Yep. Because it's, as I've gone through this journey, I go, life's a game of resources and resourcefulness. Both are important. And the book lays out a bunch of resources and a bunch of ways to be resourceful. Because when you step inside of a cage, for instance, like you got to have both. Because if you don't have both, you're going to be in a world of hurt. And business is the same thing. Like if you don't have those pieces, if you don't have the guide, the steps necessary to move forward and build traction, life can get a little bit hairy.
And where can people get the book?
Yep. They can get it on Amazon, actually.
Okay, awesome. So and could you remind me what the book is called again?
Yeah, it's called The Fighter's Formula: Winning the Game of Life.
Awesome. Very cool. Everybody listening, make sure you go check that out as soon as possible and snag a copy or two and let us know what you think on that. So, Cliff, I'd love to kind of dive back into hearing a bit more what it's like coaching with you
Yeah,
so I can get an understanding and so the audience can as well. What is it like in everyday working with Cliff?
absolutely. So I am a person who I have two ears and one mouth. And I say I do my best to listen 4 times more than I speak. Because the more I listen, the more I can see what patterns are serving a person versus which ones aren't serving a person. And I say we are all going through it, myself included. You know, I got my coaches, and there's a saying, you can't see when you're inside of your own container. And the longer I live, the more I realize how true that really is. We all have these blind spots. And I support people through getting through the blind spot, taking the actions that actually serve them so they can live the life they want to live and do it with less stress.
Okay, very cool. And who do you typically work with? Is it just the entrepreneurs or do you have a specific niche or area of individuals that you've been working with recently?
Yeah. So I look for high achievers, those who are constantly looking for their next edge, looking to get to the next level in their life. Actually playing with a couple different industries where I have real estate brokers, CEOs, CFOs, because they all deal with a lot of pressure. Like they're dealing with a ton of pressure and they're go getters. And when you're a go getter dealing with a lot of pressure, that can be very, very heavy. And so I do my best to really give them the power, like align them and power them up so that they can be the person that they were meant to be and create the impact without as much heaviness on their back and their shoulders.
So you shared a bit about the speech that you said you totally bombed, your first
Yeah.
ever speak. Can you kind of share a little bit about that? What was the like? How did you get that speaking opportunity, and what was going through your mind, and just kind of like giving us a background on that whole situation?
You know, I brought a bunch of my friends and family together to listen to me speak, and that was uncomfortable as it was because I'm like, holy crap, like my friends and my peers are going to be around me listening to me speak. And what made it difficult was me because we put our own pressure on ourselves. And we make our lives like we got to get it right and we got to make it perfect and we got to do all of this. And all of that was going through my head. And after I was done with it, what was cool was people wanted to give me constructive feedback and they were really proud that I did it. You know, it was a combination of like, we're so proud that you got up and you did it and you had so many amazing things to say. And the truth was a lot of the feedback was you have amazing things to say, but I didn't know what to do next. Like I felt good, but I don't know what to do next. So that's life. You know, you ride a bicycle and you fall down, you figure it out, but you get better at doing it. And so I go, so I have to say it in such a way and communicate it in such a way that I can give people practical tips so that they can actually get traction in their life. And so that was great feedback that they gave me. I'm glad that I did it. I was sweating when I was speaking on the stage and I survived. I survived.
Yeah. Yo, what's up? Sorry for interrupting. It's me, Rob. If you've been listening and thinking, man, I just know I'm capable of so much more, but something's just really not clicking, well, I've got something for you. It's called the Prime Performance Personality Quiz. And in just a few minutes, you'll uncover what's actually slowing you down. So, whether it's a mindset block, energy drain, or a lack of clarity, this quiz is going to give you specific insights to help you build momentum again. Again, this quiz is free, fast, and honestly, freakishly accurate. So take it now over at survivingthesidehustle.com/quiz and stop spinning, start winning today. That's the important thing. I work with a decent amount of experienced speakers and new speakers and people who kind of curious about getting into the potential speaking careers and world, very often I see a lot of people coming out and they just want to share their story. They get super excited about sharing their story, and it's emotional and it's exciting. And some do better than others at delivering their talk about their story. And then a lot of the time they forget to like relate it back to the audience. And then at times I've been sitting there and I'm kind of like, okay, this was cool.
Yeah.
This is interesting to hear. But like, what does this do for me? And one of my good friends who teaches a lot of speaker schools, his name is Carl Michelle, and he always talks about everyone's favorite radio station,
What's in it for me?
UIIFM. Yep,
Yeah.
what's in it for me? So I feel you on that. And I remember like the early days of me starting out too. And I'm like, oh, okay. So what would make me stick out a little bit more is if I have like thought leadership, some frameworks and some custom things that I've created to connect my stories to other individuals. And I'm glad to hear that you kind of learned that in a good way and you had constructive feedback, because when I first started out, people would always just come up to me like, yeah, Rob, good job. You did well. And then I'm like, all right, well, how do I get better? And they're like, just keep at it, buddy. And I'm like, great. This is awesome feedback. Thank you so much. So it sounds like
I
you've
was
got great people
so
around you.
yeah. What's interesting, because I come from a fighter's background, and what I loved about fighting, you get really fast feedback from getting punched and kicked. Like there's not a better feedback than I don't want that to happen again. So when you're dealing with athletes, they know like, nope, do this, change this, switch this. And it's freedom. That's where the freedom lies. Not like, just keep at it, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's like it exactly. Like I'm used to that more combative kind of attack on fly, the challenge almost. Like a little bit of friction helps me kind of create some fire and moving forward. So, but it sounds like you've got the great people around you.
I
Talk to
do.
me
Yeah.
about how do you continue to find positive influences to surround yourself that move you forward with your business, but then also help you connecting with your clients with other people? Because we all know that like the power of a positive circle, right? Some of our five
Yeah.
closest friends, so you want to have a strong circle around you.
There's the saying, birds of a feather flock together. And like, even just me being on your podcast right now, for instance, we met through Connected Leaders Academy, and odds are people from the CLA are going to be good people. It's just, that's the odds. And so I reach out to people where it makes sense to reach out to them. If I'm going to, let's say when I was a fighter, if I were to go to a bar to try and find fighting buddies, that's probably not the best fit for me. So it's ultimately like, ask yourself the right questions. Like, am I really doing the best for myself? And I really think, and sometimes I tell people to ask themselves that question twice. Am I really doing the best for myself? Because we know where our potential's at. It's just kind of scary to go after it sometimes. So we give ourselves reasons and excuses to be like, I'll do it tomorrow, or maybe I'm going to do that thing one day. And it's like, no, go after the thing you want to go after. Why not go after it today?
Yeah, that's powerful stuff to know. And I know I've been in countless different groups. So, like you mentioned CLA, for example, which is a great one. So, shout out to Jose Escobar for putting and curating a powerful group of, I think, over 500 individuals now. Every person I've met
Yeah.
on through the group there is very well driven and well connected and just very inspiring to connect with. But I've also been a part of a lot of negative groups that were pretty terrible. And I thought that I was getting into the right group and signing up for different coaching programs and asking myself like, okay, telling myself like, okay, this is what I need because this is all that I know. I see this individual has a lot of success, whether they've written books or I followed them in the past or whatnot. So I've signed up for different things only to be let down and my expectations crushed. So I want to ask you, along your journey, have you encountered maybe some coaches or sparring partners or
Yeah.
maybe even clients that weren't the right fit for you?
That is such a powerful question, Rob. And I will tell you, I actually, before I was a fighter, I was actually a personal trainer. And I had a belief of what a salesperson was and what a personal trainer was. And I didn't think I was a salesperson. I thought I was just a personal trainer. And I ended up connecting with the guy who was a quote unquote salesperson. And this guy was not the most integrous salesperson, to say the least. And I thought that's what sales was. That's what I thought it was. I'm like, okay, I guess that's what selling is. I'm the personal trainer. I'm not a salesperson. But as I grew and I got to learn No, you can sell with complete integrity, and you actually should sell with complete integrity. Because when you sell with integrity, not only do you get them a great product or service, but they feel really good around you. Like it's selling is for them, not for you. Well, it's an alignment. That's what I call it. It's a win-win. It's figuring out, is there a win-win here? And if you don't win, I don't win. So let's figure it out. Let me ask the questions to make sure this is a good fit for you. And it was a lesson that I learned. It was a lesson that I learned to go, wow, there's people who are going to do certain things right, and there's people who are going to do certain things wrong. And always align yourself with the people who are doing right by you and doing right by the community.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that too. And like sales, I feel like gets such a bad rep because there have been so many. Everyone's got the experience of bad, like used car salesman or sleazy salesman or
Mhm.
whatever. But I go at the same approach as you, where it's like pressure free, and it's like, hey man, I think like I'm doing this because of service to you. Like I really think that you would benefit greatly from this product. Or I go about it almost as if like you're talking with a good friend and you're really recommending like a great restaurant or a movie. Like, hey man, like I'm telling you, dude, like this is really well, like blah 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 blah. And like, yeah, obviously sales is a skill that we can all everyone can always continue to get better at, but it's also a skill that we're constantly always practicing. Just like communicating and networking too. Networking is another one that gets a lot of negative rep all the time because people think, oh, just passing out business cards and things like that. But I go to those different events with the open mind of looking to develop relationships. I look for people to connect with that I would like to invite to go grab sushi or a drink with me afterwards or something. And I think using that approach both in sales and in networking, I think it's a really powerful thing because you authentically show up and then you lead with integrity and with a good cause in mind.
100%. And I'll go back to the reason I work with high achievers specifically is to be a high achiever, you have to go for excellence. Now, with that being said, I didn't say you have to be a high achiever to work with me. You just have to have the desire to be a high achiever. If you just have the desire, then you'll desire excellence by nature. And so that's where I'm like, oh, those are the people that I'm supposed to be working with because I'm always striving for excellence. I'm always striving to be my best and not in a judgmental way either. I want to be my best. Anyone else can do whatever they want to do. That's their choice.
Yeah, as long as you continue to show up and you put your right foot forward, and then you should eventually be able to attract better quality people who are interested in the same kind of things as you. But it takes time, right? You gotta put the work in. You gotta still have to show up. It's more than just wanting that excellence. You got to make sure that you're constantly setting yourself up to position yourself for all the opportunity that can happen for you.
Yeah. There's a exercise called be do have, and I absolutely love that exercise because it was the first exercise I did when I was an overweight kid. I just didn't want it anymore. I didn't want to be overweight anymore. I wanted something different. And so I changed who I was being inside. I changed what I was doing, and I ended up getting what I wanted.
Yeah, that's powerful. Excellent exercise. And I've gone through that myself in the past. And it's always good to be reminded of such great tools and little tips that you can do to kind of clean yourself up and kind of self check in with yourself. I know for me personally, it's easy for me to get lost in everyday distractions and the whole whirlwind of life. So I have my own like meditation and journaling practices that kind of help keep me grounded, not for the woo woo type of stuff, but more so that I can kind of check in and get an external perspective on, okay, how am I doing my life? Am I working too many hours? Am I like giving myself enough downtime and things like that? So I'm interested to hear about yourself. Do you have any practices or strategies that you use to kind of keep yourself grounded and focused on the goals at hand?
Yeah, yeah. Because I say how you start your day is usually how you're going to finish your day. And I have declarations that I say to myself. So the declarations that I say is I'm a champion and I am amplified. I'm strong in mind and flow with intention. I'm strong in heart and love what I do. I'm strong in skill and use my gifts to serve. Wealth flows to me with ease. I'm a champion of champions. And if I'm by myself, I hit my chest and say, I got a championship mind. If I'm with others, I point at them and let them know they have a championship mind. Because this is a game that we're not just playing with ourselves, we're playing it with others.
Yeah, I love that. That's pretty inspiring and motivating stuff. I love that, like getting
Yeah.
yourself amped up.
Yeah.
So I'm interested, Cliff, how do people reach out to you or get in touch with you if they're interested in
Yeah,
more information about your coaching or about the book, if they're not quite ready to buy or if they just want to hear more about it and such?
yeah,
Where do they go
yeah. They
to
can
get in touch?
they can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn under Clifford Starks. And yeah, if there was something that you liked on here, please let me know. I'm always looking to improve, looking to serve, looking to figure out how I can support people in the very best way. So if there was something that really resonated with you, we'd love to know about it. And I want to thank you, Rob, for having me on.
Yeah, of course. And I want to thank you for taking the time. I know we've had a couple of hiccups in the past trying to get our episode recorded, but I'm glad we finally squared it through. And I appreciate you taking the time and setting everything up so that we could get this squared up. And also, I appreciate all the work that you're doing because it's inspiring to see other coaches out here making impact and really leading with the right foot forward, setting up better, creating more opportunities for people to do better in life. And I really appreciate all the things that you're doing.
Thank you.
So there you go, guys. If you are interested in connecting or hearing about the book or connecting, hearing about more coaching or learning more about the book, make sure that you reach out to him on Facebook or on LinkedIn. And before we go though, Cliff, I got to ask you, if you were to boil down all the information that you've learned through the different fights and experiences and whatnot through your life, and you were to package it up into one piece of advice that you can give to somebody who's just started their side hustle journey. They've just moved from a hobby into making a little bit of money and they're looking to create some momentum with their business and products. What would be your piece of advice to help them get the ball rolling?
So for a person who's just getting started, I would say ask yourself, what is a win that will give you the momentum to go after your next win? You want to have those little checkpoints in the beginning of your journey. May I give some advice to the bigger players too, the people who have been in the game for a while?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. For the people who have been in the game for a while, don't take yourself too seriously. Have fun on the journey. Listen closely. The answer, like, people are sharing their needs and their desires and their wants all the time. We just have to listen.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful. And I think both of those pieces of advice go for both parties, the early age entrepreneurs and also the seasoned veterans out there as well, because it's always important to have some sort of a scorecard or some kind of metric that you can check in and determine where you're at and what you need to do next to get to that next level. Then also that advice of don't take yourself so seriously. I think everybody needs to hear that and be reminded of that a little more often. So I appreciate that. Cliff, thank you again for all your insights and strategies on this call, man. It's been a pleasure to connect with you.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. I appreciate you.
All right, guys, we'll talk to you next time. And that's it for this episode of Surviving the Side Hustle. If you found this valuable, the best way to support the show is to rate and review on Apple or Spotify. It helps get the show in front of more driven individuals just like you, and helps them discover the tools to get unstuck, break through burnout, and build something real. And you can always connect deeper with me, our guests, or grab free resources at survivingthesidehustle.com/Rob. Whether it's a strategy call, the Prime Performance Personality Quiz, some of our products, or just to check out our free content library. Connect with us over at survivingthesidehustle.com/Rob. And hey, remember this, you weren't meant to just grind. You were built to grow. So stay conscious, stay committed, and keep showing up. Peace, guys.